So Manjushri, this one here, just it represents wisdom. Hmm? So it represents the quality of the mind that actually can develop and perfect that understanding, that wisdom. So that's why it has this this sword to cut all of our delusions, all of our negativities. Look at here, has a sword over there. Because wisdom is the one that cutting everything, eliminates all the suffering. However, prajnaparamita, so the perfection of the wisdom, that what we're going to talk, remember we talk about the perfection of wisdom. We say that that is prajna, wisdom, paramita, perfection. It's represented by a woman. Why is represented by a woman? Because to say that actually is because things are completely empty of existing in a inherent, permanent, fixed way, everything can arise. So it's like from a woman, all of us and everything arises, isn't it? Life arises from women in that sense. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. It's a representation. It's a representation that it unites what we call the two correct views. So what are the two correct views? The way things do not exist. You guys understanding here the clouds now? And the way things exist. So we call these the union of the two views, of the correct view. Yes? So the view, it's not only understanding that things are empty of their impossible way of existing, in that inherent, self-existing, permanent way of existing. It's actually understanding how things also exist. And how things actually exist is what we've been trying to actually understand. Things exist through, we can say, mainly three aspects that we can analyze, which we already analyzed, but I'm going to be a little bit more explaining. The way things exist is that things exist by causes and conditions. Flower, no? Our body, mom and daddy, sperm and egg, easy to understand. The mind, dependent on the previous moment. The present moment doesn't arrive out of nowhere. It arises from the previous moment. The previous moment. Otherwise, we could not have memories. Yes, memories prove that things have a continuity, but that continuity, it's momentary changing. It's not fixed the way it arises in that moment. It's just influenced by the previous moment. Does it make sense what I'm talking about? Yes, because if not, then things could not be different. Things could not change. Yes? Does it make sense what I just said? Hello. No, you're always on time. Hello. So that is very important that we understand that, right? It's very important that we understand this. Because then it gives us the understanding of what actually means to be cause and conditions. Nothing exists without cause and conditions. Nothing. Right? There's no such thing as existing like a sky flower, like a flower in the sky. Remember I talked about here? Cannot exist. So the way, remember, I was just talking about the union of the what we need to see, how things do not exist, and how things exist. So that union is what we call the correct view. Yes? So the correct view is it has two sides of a same coin. One is how things do not exist and how things exist. Yes? So the way things exist, which I said is a bit easier, the way things exist is that they exist through causes and conditions. That's life. Everything exists through causes and conditions. The earth exists through causes and conditions, right? The sun exists through causes and conditions. But these causes and conditions, they are impermanent, always changing. That means they're going to finish. The earth is going to finish. The sun is going to finish. The galaxy is going to finish. So why our little lives would not finish? Right? That is very important that we understand. That is the first way how things exist. And then these causes and conditions, they come together and they create parts. So is the second way of existing. Everything has parts. Nothing is whole, complete without parts. We talked about the body, remember? The body has many parts. If you try to find what is the body in itself, which part of the body is the body? None of them, right? But all of them together, they are considered the body. So the body has parts. Does it make sense? The eye or the mind, let's focus on the mind. The mind has parts. What are the parts of the mind? The emotions, the sensations, the thoughts, the memories. All of that are part of the mind, isn't it? All the experiences. So the mind also has parts. Make sense? Yes?
Yeah.
So, and the I, the self, I'm going to use now the self so you guys can understand. The self has also parts, the body and the mind. Does it make sense what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, you two already know all of this. But, yes, Debbie.
Could you say what you said about continuity? Where does that fit in?
It fits on the causes and conditions with the idea that these parts, they are made of parts themselves. Like if you're going to look at the body also has parts. And and if we go to the parts of the body, let's say the heart has parts. Mm-hmm. And then those parts have parts, right? And infinitely like this. Yes. But these parts, they are formed by causes and conditions, which are impermanent. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So the body is made of parts of, how they call, the skin, muscles, bones, what is the name? Organs. And all of them are made of causes and conditions that are impermanent, changing. So there is a continuity of these causes and conditions and this part, but it's impermanent. So a body, when it's alive, it's called a body. When it's dead, it's called a corpse. When it's inside of the womb, it's called a fetus. Fetus. Yeah. Same continuity, yes, of parts, same continuity of causes and conditions and parts, different names in different situations. Why? Because they are dependent. They are interdependent. They are dependent on those situations occurring. That means the body when it's in the womb, when it's alive, and when it's dead, for the mind to give a name, a label to it. But we just label it. We just simply label it. We don't do anything else. That's not how it works. When we put the label, we jump with all of these extra things on top of this label. Permanence, inherentness, self-existing. Especially, we think that it's not made of cause and conditions. We forget. So when we have a cancer, we believe that the cancer came out of the blue. There's no cause and condition for the cancer to come. We have a body. Therefore, we already have the cause and conditions for cancer to happen. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like if I have a car, I have the condition or the potential for it to break.
Right.
If I have a glass, it has the potential to break. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If I have a life, I have the potential to die. It's part of it. It comes together. Does it make sense what I'm saying? We don't say it like that at all. When some of these things happen, it's a surprise. Completely surprise for us. Why this is happening? You have that potential, and that potential, the cause and conditions came together and it happened. That's it. We don't do it like this. Why? Because we put more into these objects, into these situations than there is. That's the Brazilian drama. Right there. Adding more to the situation than what it actually is. And that obscures our minds and create all of these cause and conditions and these pulls and, and push and pulls and all the suffering. If we would just see it for what it is, then we just come with a solution for it. Without the drama, without the roller coaster. Why? Because we understand that it's just changing the cause and conditions. You change the result. Guess what? But if the result that we are trying to get is immortality, that's impossible. Right? Only, what's the name? Lord Voldemort, Harry Potter wanted that. And all the people in the cream and Botox industry. Is that? So if we want that, therefore, we're going to fail. We're going to be up for failure. We're going to be up for disaster. And that's what we do. We don't see things as they are. Therefore, we create suffering. Yes? So what we do is that actually things exist through these three ways. Causes and conditions, made of parts, and being labeled. Those causes and conditions and those parts by the mind. It's a circumstantially, can we say that? Like, it depends on the circumstances, it's going to have a different label. So, no, I always say that. Okay, so me and Bob. So Bob is, taller than older. We're going to go to something easier. So, I am taller than Bob. Okay? So Bob is smaller than me. And then we bring Debbie. So Bob is taller than Debbie. So what is Bob? Taller or smaller? Why? Because for Bob with
related with
go. Yes.
related with
In relation to her. Okay. What else?
relation to you, he's shorter.
Okay. So is he?
He didn't change his height. Right. The causes and conditions made him either taller or shorter.
Yes.
Right.
So he's not one or the other?
He's not taller or shorter
Inherently.
inherently.
He's not fixed.
Right.
Any of these. he's depending on the causes and conditions, depending on the circumstances, he will be merely is important, means simply labeled taller or smaller. Taller or smaller. That's it. It doesn't make him anything. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
If we didn't have these labels, how would we communicate?
No, the labels, there's nothing wrong with them.
Because how would people have a conversation?
That's exactly this, but that is the point. That's very good you're asking that, because normally we think the labels are the problem. Nothing wrong. We're going to have to label. The Buddha's labeled, right? The Buddha's used all the labels. It's not about the labeling that is the wrong point. What is the issue? Is believing
The fixation. Oh, the fixed, yeah, nature.
the
Right.
grasping.
Okay.
No, then he develops pride when he's taller than Debbie, because he sees that as a permanent aspect of himself. He sees more than a simple label, a circumstantial
Yes.
label, a dependent label. Yes?
Yeah.
He sees more.
Right.
But if the condition changes and all of a sudden now.
Now
you're
he's
with
me,
her, he's
with me, then he
more
says
short.
shorter, therefore he develops then low self-esteem or whatever, because he sees it as, as being inherent, or being like more than what is just a circumstantial label. But not only that, the moment that he sees that, he labels that being permanent, he grasps to that, and he sees that shorter in his mind is a bad thing. So the bad labeling of shorter being bad comes from his side. In any way, never existed, will never exist from the side of the label in itself. It doesn't have. The label is just a name to give a situation, a denomination for a situation between these two people, height.
Just a description.
A description. So that is the problem. We don't know that things exist in this simple way. So what do we say? That this way that Bob is seeing, and all of us see it, ourselves, as being more than the labels, as being a fixed quality that we have, for example, right? And completely believing in that being existent from our side, for example, when we're talking about ourselves, an inherent, completely sense, then that is what we say it's empty of. It's empty. Things are empty of that wrong way of existing.
Wow.
When we see things in an empty way, and why they are empty more than that? Because if they were not empty, I could never say that he's taller than Debbie, because he would be fixed. Yes? Stuck. What self-existing means, what existing from its own side means, what permanent things means, is that it cannot change. That's the definition of it. So a permanent, self-existing, self-inherent, all of these words that I've been using today, they mean, the meaning of them is they cannot change. They come without any cause. They are stuck, static in a way, and can never be changed. So if that was true, which is the truth, the truth for Bob, because that's how he's interpreting that, right? Then I could never say he's taller than Debbie. He would always be shorter.
Wow.
So now think about everything that you think about yourself. Everything. You are not like that at all. You will never be, and you will never. No, you never were, and you will never be. You're just labeling yourself circumstantially, and you're believing and making it inherent. And what Buddhism and the wisdom is coming to say, you are empty. And empty means you are not existing in this way. It's impossible way of existing. Why? Because if it was, you would be static, never changing, always with those qualities, always with those situations, always in that way. And you are not. So being empty of an inherent, of a self-existing, of an absolute kind of like a permanent way is the reason why things can exist. Because things exist by changing, by cause and effect, by being labeled, by having parts. Things were not in that way of existing, so they complement each other, right? Because things are empty of being self-existing, they exist by cause and effect, by cause and conditions. Yes? That is the union that we are talking about. Does it make sense?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm having so many aha moments over
Good.
here. Even thinking about, okay, say I think that I'm kind.
Yes. Great. I love that you use the positive quality.
Yeah. But
Yes.
the truth is, based on cause and condition, am I always?
Yes. That's how we see ourselves, isn't it?
Judging others against what I see as my kindness. And I'm also judging myself.
Yes.
Because if I get into situations where maybe I perceive that I didn't act kind,
Yes.
now all of a sudden I'm
Self-beating.
guilt,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Beating ourselves down, no? Because we believe that there is an inherent, sorry, I forgot your name, sweetheart. Dana. Because you believe that there is an inherent, a self, completely permanent, kind Dana. And whatever that doesn't work, that doesn't appear, right?
Yeah.
Becomes a,
Right.
guess what? You have the condition to develop and to be kind. You have, right? Sometimes the conditions are there, and then you're kind. Sometimes the conditions are not there, and you're not kind.
Yeah.
What are the main factor for that condition to manifest? The intention. If the intention is to help others, then you're kind. If the intention is to just think about ourselves, me, normally kindness is limited. It's like, but, you know? So if I understand that, what do I want to do? Eliminate the wrong condition that doesn't allow the kindness to arise, which is the self-cherishing. And what actually creates the self-cherishing? The self-grasping, the wrong view about myself. So when you start to understand who you really are, in the sense of, I am not this inherent self-existing permanent thing, but I'm these causes and conditions coming together. I'm freeing myself. Yes?
Yeah.
And then the more I free myself from these wrong views, the more I can truly develop the altruistic intention. Therefore, I'm creating the causes for being kind all the time. And guess what? Now comes the, we have an expression in Portuguese that I never understood, but I really like. It's kind of like, now is the jump of the cat. I don't know why we say that, but it's true. the leap of the cat is to say something kind of like, now's the catch moment, where it's like to say, when we act in kindness, with kindness, from this altruistic mindset, who is experience a good feeling and is happy and is in peace. Do you understand? That is being wisely selfish. So I develop that understanding of, oh, if I want to help others, actually, I need to eliminate my self-cherishing, my self-grasping, my wrong views. Then I'm going to be able to truly create the conditions to be constantly kind, compassionate, loving, which are mental states that bring me a happy experience. That's it. That's how we can create ourselves. Does it make sense, what I just tried to explain? Even YouTube that just arrived? Yes? So that is the power of understanding what we are doing here. Yeah? Let's read the Heart Sutra. Let me check, where is it? Open. I think it's saved here. Desktop, yes. So I want to go through it in a Zoom share. What? Is it there? Yes. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna see and try to understand the heart of the perfection of wisdom sutra. So again, remember I said all of them is going to start with, thus did I hear at one time. Yes? So it means that it was heard. It was not written. These sutra, these teachings of the Buddha were not written by the Buddha. Okay? So I'm going to read a little bit and then we're going to stop and I'm going to comment a little bit. Okay? I prostrate to the noble three rare sublime ones. So the three rare sublime ones are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So are the three main objects that we say that we can take refuge on. What refuge means? Right now, I take refuge to find happiness and not suffering in booze, in Netflix, in Instagram and all of that. These can never bring me what I want, because what can bring me what I want, it's my own mind. So I need to have objects like the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha that help to develop my correct view so I can find happiness. Yes? So that's why I prostrate to them, because they are the true means to achieve what I want. Does it make sense? Does it I hear at one time? That we already said, why is there? The Bhagawan or the Buddha was dwelling on mass of vultures mountain in Rajagriha. So those that came with us, none of you came with us to India. We were there. We went over there to check it out, that place. Okay? So it's a place in India. It really exists, right? It's a place where the Buddha sat down and taught, right? But it's a very small place. So many people say, oh, how it can be, because it says, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. And you go over there and it's a very small place and you're like, how? Where were they, right? Well, because actually the monks and the bodhisattvas, we also say that they were in different kind of like realms, you know, they could float around, they could sit around, because it's almost like a little valley. So they could sit around the valley and the Buddha could teach them in different ways. Okay. So at that time, the Bhagavan or the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. So here, what is so interesting is that the Buddha in this sutra doesn't say a word. He's in silence. Why? What that represents? It represents that seeing the truth of our reality, seeing how things are, it's impossible to be expressed. That's what it represents. It represents that you can be here for an entire Saturday instead of doing so many more interesting things, listening to this. But if you don't realize it in your mind, it doesn't matter at all. It's just words hitting the the hearing. How do we call the eardrop? You know, it's just enter here and nothing. So these ideas that we need to realize it. So the Buddha is in complete absorption, concentrating on this, seeing reality as it is, and just there. And from that, okay, from the power of the intention of the Buddha, without any words, he's gonna kind of like, let's say, create an entire atmosphere for this sutra to be taught without him saying a word. Okay? So it says also at that time the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. So Avalokiteshvara is that Buddha over there with the 1,000 arms around, with the over there in the top of his holiness. Yes, over there, there. Debbie, there. Top of his holiness. Here, his holiness is there. 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 Yes. So on top of his holiness, there, right? So follow the hand. It is 1,000 arms representing the compassion to benefit others. So he manifested 1,000 arms to benefit others, right? So it's saying that, so it represents compassion. And we're going to talk about wisdom. So these two represent, it needs to be together. So it's not just wisdom, it's not just compassion, it's together. Okay? So that's why it's Avalokiteshvara, is the representation of compassion talking about wisdom. Yes? Does it make sense? That also represents that union that we need. Remember the prostration? That we need these two. Looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection. What is that? What the Buddha was just meditating on. Profound perception. Yes? So he also looked at the very profound practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates. Again, he used the word aggregates, but the body and the mind. Yes, that is the aggregates, body and mind, also as empty of inherent nature. What does it mean? Being empty of inherent nature. For you guys. Do you understand this phrase? It's what we just discussed. It's empty of a illusion-like way, impossible way of existing, which is Bob being either inherent taller or inherent smaller. Yes? So that is the conclusion. That's what he also recognize. Just like the Buddha was meditating on that, he also recognized on that. So all of this was happening still in the mind of these beings. Then it comes the teachings. Then through the power of the Buddha, means the intention of the Buddha wanting that teachings to come alive, to be expressed, so people could learn. The Venerable Shariputra. So Shariputra is representing our conventional mind, our day-to-day rational mind that is trying to understand how we can be free. And he says, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, he asks the Avalokiteshvara, the compassionate Buddha. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice these activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? How do I understand the perfection of wisdom? You know? And then he said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Sharavatriputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage, here he's already saying to Shariputra, sweetheart, it's not only sons of the lineage that can do that. They are exactly the same. Okay? So it's very funny because he actually answers with that emphasis to say everybody. That's what I represent. Son or daughter means everybody. So everybody's the same in understanding wisdom. Does it make sense what I'm saying here? We are exactly the same in understanding wisdom. Who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection wisdom should look upon like this correctly and repeatedly. So this is to answer you, Tao. Repeatedly. All the time. Yes? Repeatedly. Keep that mental state. Beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Okay? So what are the 5 aggregates? Let's make it easy. Body and mind. The body, the form. Physical form. Yes? And the mind is 4 different things. Feeling. What it means feeling? We can have 3 types of feeling. Pleasure, unpleasure, and neutral feelings. That's what we are junkies for. We are junkies for pleasant feelings, and we are completely averse to unpleasant feelings. That's what we are doing all the time, right? That's our lives. Honestly, if we look into our lives, that's what we are constantly doing. Running away from unpleasant feelings, going towards pleasant feelings. Guess what? Does the pleasant feelings happen for everybody in the same way? Absolutely. So what determines what brings us pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feelings? Discrimination. Yes? So discrimination is our personal discrimination of that thing or that thing or that thing bringing me pleasant, or that thing not bringing me or bringing me unpleasant feelings. So it's completely subjective. And what creates that discrimination is depending on the type of mind we have, which are what we call compositional factors. What are compositional factors? Emotions. So anger will discriminate that situation or that person as unpleasant. Attachment will discriminate that person as very pleasurable. Does it make sense? So compositional factors, it's where kind of like, is the movement we will make it something discriminate and then have the pleasant or unpleasant feeling. And consciousness is simply the container where all of that happens. Why? Because consciousness, as we said, the essence of consciousness is clear, open. Yes? It's there, where all of these things can arise. Does it make sense what I'm thinking, what I'm talking about? So what is actually saying here when it says those 5 aggregates also is empty of inherent nature? Form, the body, it's empty of being solid, self-existing, inherent, permanent, completely.
And the mind.
And the mind as well. But the mind also in the sense of all my feelings, all my discrimination, all my emotions, and even the consciousness itself is not inherent existent. It's very funny because normally when we talk about, none of you ask, which I found it funny, because maybe you're sleepy. Coffee. We need to bring coffee for everybody. So what happens is that the mind,
What?
huh?
You said
You didn't ask. I'm gonna get there. We didn't ask because when we talk about that, we are merely labeling things. Then people say, so we are what is labeling. That's normally what people think. We are the labeling, the labeler. Labeler? Yeah, we can say that.
we're also the label.
So the problem is that we think then the labeler is something fixed. The consciousness which is labeling is permanent. Guess what? Even consciousness is empty of inherent. It's empty of being fixed. It's empty of being permanent in the sense of being in a specific kind of like self-existing. It doesn't. It's cause and effect as well. Yes. But then, so that is why it's important for us to understand when it talks about the aggregates, is to really dissect. Yes, dissect our own mind. So we can understand that actually, because normally we believe that there is something there that is fixed, that is permanent, that is the experiencer, yeah,
The experience.
the experiencer, or the labeler, or everything. We think that there is something. We really grasp to that. It has to have something that is fixed, permanent, and is not. Nothing is. Nothing inside of ourselves or outside of ourselves is like that. So then he goes negating it. He goes saying, form is empty. What he says, he's going to repeat that many times, but instead of he stopped the idea, he already understands that when we say beholding those five aggregates also is empty of inherent nature. So when we talk is empty, everything means empty of inherent nature. Okay? So when he say form is empty of inherent nature. Okay? That's what it means. Form is empty of inherent nature. And then he says emptiness. What is emptiness? Emptiness means this mode of existing is nothing but form. What does it mean? It means what we just described. Because things are empty of existing, they can arise by cause and effect. So form is nothing but causes and conditions. Right? These causes and conditions in that sense of our bodies being form is because there is the egg and the sperm, and then there is like the food of the mother, and then there is the sun, and blah, 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 all of the things that forms our body. If it was inherent, guess what? We could never have the body we have now, because it would be static. It would not change. It would not be dependent on the burritos we eat. Does it make sense? Yes? That's what it's saying. That this emptiness or this clear way of existing is the reason why form can exist. Because if it was not empty, it would be static, it would be fixed, it would be permanent. So form would not be able to exist as it exists now, which is dependent on cause and conditions, changing all the time, made of parts. Because that's what it is. That's the reality. Yes? Yes,
So
Mr.
when we're
Bob.
being compassionate,
Mhm.
when we feel we're being compassionate,
Yes.
believe are we actually being compassionate? Or is it
There is no ultimate, there's no inherent compassion. There is only compassion depending on causes and conditions and being labeled, right? So there is a compassion that we are practicing, but we say that there is an authentic Buddhist compassion. What is an authentic Buddhist compassion? It's not inherent, it's also dependent on motivation. If my compassion is to eliminate your wrong view, it's to help you, not eliminate. Let me really use that word. Help you with whatever is good for you so you can eliminate your wrong view. That's what it means compassion in Buddhism. Does it make sense?
can you
Repeat that again? Yes. There's only a label of what compassion means. So in the mundane world, if we go to a dictionary, compassion means being kind to someone or, being nice to someone. The definition of compassion in Buddhism means wanting yourself and others to be free from suffering. What do I need in order to accomplish that? I need to understand what suffering is. And then I need to understand how to eliminate what suffering is. Because that's what compassion wants. Does it make sense? Yes? Compassion wants to eliminate suffering for yourself and others. Yes? Wants you and others to be free from suffering. So I need to understand what suffering is. So suffering, I can feel from levels. Suffering is when I am under the influence of negative emotions, as we said. When I'm angry, I'm suffering. When I am attached, I'm suffering. When I am frustrated, I'm suffering. When I have low self-esteem, I'm suffering. When I am anxious, I'm suffering. When I'm depressed, I'm suffering. Right? I'm suffering in that moment. I'm not nice. It's not a nice feeling, any of these emotions. Right? But not only that, those emotions create habitual tendencies and patterns, which makes me experience those same mental states in the future. Right? They pop up again. So I'm constantly suffering. Where that mental states come up, where they come from? From this selfish, self-cherishing mind. I only get attached because I believe that something will bring happiness to me. I only get anger when me doesn't have what he wants. Yes? So I start to understand, where is that me that wants all of these things? Who is this me? How does it work? Right? That's the questions we go investigating. So we can go to the core essence, the root of the problem. So we go analyzing that actually this me that I'm cherishing so much doesn't exist in the way it appears. It appears to me as so self-existing, so has a third thing, an observer, a labeler, an experiencer, all of that is not there. Why? Because it's just cause and effect, cause and conditions. It's not there at all. It's impermanent cause and conditions coming together, being labeled. So when I understand that, now I understand where suffering comes from, and I understand how to eliminate the suffering, which is eliminating this wrong view. Does it make sense? When I do that, then I am able to, when I want to help others to develop that, then I am being compassionate according to Buddhist terms.
But if I ask one more question,
Absolutely.
you make the distinction between my thoughts about me, my causes and conditions coming together
Yes.
and being labeled, but then you talk about being compassionate towards others.
So
I'm trying to unravel.
Okay, so
Me.
maybe I kind of like, so we started to see that the cause of the suffering for these negative emotions to arise is this cherishing
Right.
of this me. And when I go to investigate the nature of this me, it doesn't exist as it appears.
Right.
So when I do that, I say, oh, if I eliminate this wrong view of how I think this me exists, I eliminate the self-cherishing and I eliminate the negative emotions to appear. Everything gone. So, because that is what self-compassion means, meaning wanting myself to be free from suffering. Yes? Yes? So this is self-compassion eliminating the cause of suffering, because that's what I want. Compassion means wanting me and others to be free from suffering. So now I understood what suffering is and where it comes from. Yes? Are we all on the same page? Yes? As much as we can. And then what we start to do is that we start to develop that understanding that we and everybody else, it's having the same wrong idea about themselves. But guess what? Then I start to realize that I can't go inside anyone and change their wrong view. So what do? I develop skillful means because I developed the correct view about myself, right? To help others so they can develop their correct view and eliminate the wrong view.
But first we have to eliminate the wrong view of ourselves.
Yes, because otherwise, how I can tell you what to eliminate?
So all those views we've been holding of ourselves.
Absolutely. I'm going to use a funny word, rubbish. Everything. Why? Because all of them are based on this, which is not there. It would never will be, and it never was, actually, besides happening in your mind. Yes,
I
Leah.
was talking about motivation.
Mhm.
The motivation of everything you're talking about.
Yes.
And I don't understand the difference between, you was talking also about intention.
Mhm.
Intention and motivation is like
Similar in that way. Yes, yes. Intention and motivation. It's what, because what is the intention and motivation? The autopilot intention and motivation that we have right now, right? It's clear, very easy, very, very easy to see right now. Is what? Self-cherishing. It's cherishing this I, this me. That's what it is. That's what we want.
So the negative views that I hold toward myself in a fixed manner are self-cherishing.
The wrong views that you host about yourself are self-grasp. Well, I'm gonna say, but they are gonna be, well, yeah, it's because they arise because of a wrong view of yourself, right? They are self-cherishing in some ways because we believe. You really believe because you're stupid. No, it's not because of that.
That's okay.
No, it's not because of that.
Get on the bandwagon.
It's because I'm not sugarcoating you. It's really because you believe
Yeah.
that holding those views is going to bring you happiness.
Wow.
Or avoid suffering.
Huh? Sorry,
Okay,
you jumped.
no,
In your mind it makes sense, but I haven't been there yet. You guide us through the thought.
bring you happiness
Yes.
or avoid suffering.
Or avoid suffering. Yes, very good. Yes, very good. Very, very good. Yes. Either one or the other. It's what is motivating us all the time, right? It's like pleasant and unpleasant. That's what we are looking for all the time, right? That's what we want. I don't want to have a cold tea because it's unpleasant. Or I want to have a hot tea because it's pleasant, right? It's all there is. So that means what? We are crazy, stupid. No, we are just ignorant in what can actually bring us what we want. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask, make an example
Please.
in this time
Yes.
with the like and not like at the cell phone. For
Mhm.
example, the young people.
Yes.
Okay, teenagers. I work with
Yes.
young people.
Yes.
And they really suffering with not enough likes
Yes.
or haters.
Yes.
How can we bring this idea to them?
Yes. Very good. No, very, very, very good. I think that really what matters to try to bring to them is the likes or don't likes are not gonna create a fixed image of who they are, a fixed idea, because it's not dependent on the likes and dislikes. It's dependent on how they see themselves. That is the problem. Because they believe, as we all believed, that the way people see us is directly connected with the way we are. So what we want? People to see us in a good way. So then we start to believe or think that we are good. So we become dependent on the validation of others.
Correct. If we go one more step,
Mhm.
also these likes have a situation that on the society.
There's a situation in the society.
It is like a way that if you don't have enough likes, maybe you cannot go inside that job because the company is already checking how the people likes you or what are you doing. I mean, it's not only that they do not realize who they really are.
But well, it's a different thing. Because if it's just a tool for you to get a job, if you just see it as a tool, then it's just a way of kind of like creating, for example,
I'm saying the society is using this image that you believe in yourself also to get to some points, or maybe I'm not explaining.
no, I understand, but I understand that society can do whatever they want. The job market can do whatever you want. You don't have how to control that, right? Well, you can when you become the boss, and then you can say, I don't care anymore, right? But if you actually are dependent, let's say like that, of people seeing your curriculum. How do you say that? Curriculum?
Your resume.
Your resume, and checking your social media to see if you have too many things, then you just create a social media that is about that. So you know it is a fake thing. So there's no problem in understanding that it's fake. It's just a job. It's like the actor who does acting. He knows that actually interpreting in a certain way is just a job that they are doing.
Young people, they believe in that.
But because of the first thing that we were discussing, not because of the second,
Yes.
right? The
Yes.
second becomes just a trigger
Yes.
for the first one to continue happening.
Yes, but if we want to go there and help them to look themselves and change, like a real
Yes.
compassion.
Yes. These first point of like cutting the way that jobs are based on how many likes you have it on social media, it's helpful. Yes, it's not going to solve the problem. Because the problem comes from their mind, that understanding and that belief that there is a way of being, yes, that is should be permanent, that it should be fixed, and that is dependent on external aspects to arise, to be, which it doesn't actually exist like that in zero way, never, ever. That's what we need to help them to understand. Right? Is what we have been discussing here, and even in the beginning, when we just saying simply, just simply realizing that, oh, I don't have to be in this certain way, right? Or I am actually like that in a certain situation. I'm smaller or taller in a certain situation, but I don't have to be seen in a certain way because it's impossible to be in a certain way all the time. That is why, in some ways, social media is so toxic for the mind, because it's even more delusion the way it happens, the way it makes us appear, right? Because it's just a snapshot of something that is absolutely fake, right? What is the upside, the good side of it? If we see it that is fake, then we don't get so attracted to it, right? It's like, oh yeah, this person looks very happy, but actually I know them, right? And this person is not like that all the time. I know this person cannot be like that all the time because I know them. They're actually crying, calling me and crying and kind of like having middle-age crisis or all of this. So I know. So it doesn't seem so attractive. Actually, it becomes an object of compassion, right? Becomes really an object of compassion. So what we can try to help them understand is that they can, or they don't need to have such a fixed idea about how they should be. Try to understand that maybe with your parents you can be in a certain way, and with your family in a certain way. Just that already helps. That releasing that very strong sense of self. And what happens with social media and people that work with social media is that they are selling, and what happened with actors, they are selling that they are in a certain way. So what they have to do, keep that. And guess what? Impossible. With the uncontrolled mind we have right now, impossible to be happy all the time. The only people that can be happy all the time like this, those that are working with their minds. These teachers. They don't. The only people I know that I experience in my life that can have the potential, they have the potential, like His Holiness, to be happy all the time, because they were working with their minds. So they are controlling their uncontrolled mind. The rest of people, wow, I worked in finance, right? With people that had everything, billionaires. One of the reasons why I left was exactly because I saw how miserable they were. Completely miserable. So I said, I'm going to be here doing that for not having happiness. No way. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So I think that it's a way of trying to help them not see. Actually, I said this tomorrow. I think that they will come. This last time I was here, I was invited by one person that comes to the Sunday classes, and she has 4 kids, 4 boys. Poor thing, right? And three of them are triplets, and they are like 20 something, 21, I think, and the youngest is 16. And they invited me. They were very kind, very, very kind. They invited me to go for dinner at their house, and the dad was there, and I was a bit like, let's see what like the dad kind of like this monk coming here and like talking to my boys, and he was absolutely very kind as well, very, very kind. And we talked about, and I was just trying to like get from them what was bothering them at this time and age. And the biggest thing that came out, and I had classes also with younger people from a group in Australia. There was a school group that came to the center in Brazil, most of them with low self-esteem. And why low self-esteem? Because they really believe, they grasp that they should be in a certain way all the time, and that way is the correct way for them to be happy. It's a recipe for disaster. You are projecting that you should be in a certain way all the time with a way that is impossible, right? So when I started to say, how about you guys checking how you actually are and realizing that, oh, the reason why you are in this way is because you build up a habit of seeing yourself in a certain way. It's just a habit. That is very powerful as well. To see that what is that we are seeing ourselves, how we are seeing ourselves, it's a habitual pattern and tendency of how we think we are. So, because that habit, by definition, a habit means things can be changed. That's what a habit is. A habit is something that can be changed. It can be eliminated, it can be stopped, and it can be created. So, to help them see that they can deconstruct a certain ways that they already see themselves. And especially in that time and age, that's something that we didn't have that.
And keep using the social media knowing that it's fake but can help them.
That's it. So for example, it's kind of like what social media actually can help is just that. It's saying, oh, I'm thinking that I should be like this, and I already been like that, and it didn't bring me happiness. So that's not true. So this is one way, one very important approach. The second approach that always needs to come is the union. So this is, let's say, wisdom, helping them with wisdom, right? Making that sense of self so strong, be a little bit softer. Yes, that's already. We don't need to talk about what we're talking here, aggregates and emptiness and all of that. Just like making it a little bit softer. And then the second thing is, okay, you want to be happy? Is that what you're trying to do in social media? How do you think you find happiness? And really trying to help them realize that interdependency, helping each other, helping others, developing positive mental states is what's going to bring them happiness. That is very, very, very powerful for this generation. Why? Because they're eager, like they're looking for that. Because they had COVID, they were isolated, right? Because they're in social media, so they're completely disconnected from each other. So when we talk about, I had that, I like just say, when someone just is nice to you, doesn't that make like feel nice? And how about when you are nice to others? Doesn't also feel nice? Yes. So how about that? It's as simple as that. realizing that what they are looking for is not there. It's actually in the opposite direction. So these two things, one, we are this helping them decrease the self-grasping. And here we are helping them to decrease the self-cherishing. These are the two things. And then we, help them with this. The more they develop, happier they become. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Let's have a little break. PP coffee, tea break. And then we come back and we finish. At least we're going to read once the Heart Sutra. That's already enough. Good enough. And then next time we come, and then exactly, I'm going to try to do a meditation when we finish the reading. And then next time we do like a full day of reading it, going through it, and meditating more and more and more. Yeah, it's because I did this retreat. I did it several days already. I did 4 or 5 days. I did 2 days, but one day is just a overview, right? Okay, so let's have a little break and then we come back soon.